people were very, very excited. Apparently all the stations wanted him, and he chose us, and so he's going to be a ball of energy, and we're just really excited to have him with us. Well, I'm going to march over here for just 1 second, because I want to start with this food line. You're probably wondering, why am I going over here? And as I walk in, this is significant. So what's in here? This is sausage, soft bread. I guess this is chicken, or maybe that's chicken. Black with chicken, macaroni and cheese, broccoli, lettuce. So I see 1, 2, 3, possibly 4 items that are delicious that a lot of people in our community couldn't begin to eat. And not only that, it's not like, gee, I couldn't eat that because I had dental work done last week and my mouth's still kind of sore. I haven't eaten that in 4 years, or 5 years, or 10 years, even lettuce. How many of you guys get excited about lettuce? Let's be frank. Yeah. I eat a lot of salads, but I can't say I get excited about lettuce. Maybe a lamb chop or something or other. But I mean, as I have met with people that you all have helped through the Apple Project and the new dental clinic with community health outreach, it opened up my whole vision of what it's like to be in our community and not really have the means to help. It's not like my leg's hurting today, but it's kind of rainy and tomorrow it feels better. It is constant problem right here. And it affects everything. Not just the fact that you can't chew chicken. I mean, I remember interviewing a veteran named John, and he really opened my eyes. I went over to his house, and he was so polite, and I particularly liked him because he was a radio broadcaster in his day. So he had this beautiful voice, but he hadn't had teeth worth anything for years. So he'd take his cereal, he'd pour his cereal in a bowl, and then he'd put the milk on the cereal, and he'd let it soak for about 15 minutes. And that wasn't the end of the process. At that point, he'd put the cereal in his mouth, and he was so, he's such a gentleman. He didn't want to complain, but he'd say, I would manipulate it among the few teeth that I have. And then he'd swallow, hoping he wouldn't choke. That wasn't just a bad day. That was every day, every single day of his life. And so when I look at what you're doing for people, what you have done, what you sparked among the Rotarians in town, it's huge. It's not just a little help. It's not just nice. I mean, it's revolutionizing people's lives. And of course, Matthew's poured his talents, thank goodness, not just his blood and sweat and tears and everything else, but his talents and what he does at Haskell to make this all come to fruition. But with your financial backing and your support early on, see, that's what's so great about what you guys did. I mean, it could have been, once something has momentum, it's easier to join. But you early on noticed that this is a problem. I think it was an awning that you were going to help with, then you go, no, we can do more. You were the ones with the vision and the compassion to say, wait, this can be more, and we're going to kick this off. And then it spread. If I remember correctly, all of the Rotary together gave $50,000, which was doubled by the Weaver Foundation. That's $100,000 toward this clinic. And if you haven't seen the clinic, it's beautiful. It's opened up off of Timaquana Road, and I think it's just so pretty inside. I expected it to be much more rudimentary just because it's nonprofit. And I walked in, well, because I've been following them the whole time, but every time I walked in, I was like, wow, this is really beautiful. If I were walking in, I would feel special. I mean, their beautiful cabinets, the Weavers have added on because they believe in the project so much. They're dark wood, and so you could be in your dental chair and not be in a whole giant room with a whole bunch of people. You got your own little private area. They have offices, and they keep adding more and more. But the stories are endless. I mean, I just recently did a story when we had the grand opening on Pastor George Lowe and his wife. And both of them didn't have teeth worth anything. And the whole time I'm interviewing him, you can tell, as he's on the north side, you know the strip centers have the little tiny churches and people work so hard. They don't get the glory of the big giant congregation. They minister to the people in their neighborhoods. I mean, they're out there day in and day out. And when he decided to become a pastor, he gave up whatever salary he had from a previous job to bare bones. And they didn't want to complain. They didn't feel as it was God's will for them to complain. But you can't help but have some issues when you don't have teeth, you know. And so she didn't want to be on camera, but I finally interviewed her, and she said, okay, I'll talk to you. She had no teeth down here, none. And then these really loose ones on top. And most interviews she did this. She just didn't want anybody to see anything. And then finally she burst into tears, and she said, I can't be myself. I can't smile. I can't say hello to people. I can't, it's not just eating, it's just her whole self-esteem, it just crumbled. And then when I went back over to see them after they had gotten their teeth,
I mean, she was like, she had this beautiful dress on, all cream, and for us ladies, we know you get all dressed up. She had makeup on, her hair all done, and she just burst with this big, beautiful smile. And it's everything to them. And to him, too. I mean, here's a family that's trying to make sure they get the paper towels on sale so they can afford to get to the next step, so they give the money to their congregation. I mean, you guys are reaching out to everyone. And the success stories are amazing. And the financials of that, I think the clinic is totally free, so everything in the clinic is free. The lab that does the dentures, if you have to have the dentures, and not everybody does, it was just a couple $100. I think their whole bill is like $800, and they're paying in installments. Together, the two of them would have been $8,000 or $9,000, non-touchable, impossible for them. It wouldn't have ever happened. So think how many years, they're fairly young, I'd say they're in their 40s, which is, I don't really not that I'm past that. But I mean, think how many years, decades they would have gone with these same problems. And they would have gotten worse. Once you have periodontal disease, it's an unending process. So I came here today to say thank you. I stepped out of a meeting with my boss